Hello YouTube, today we're going to drive the class 43 from Reading to London Paddington in blizzard conditions. As usual, we won't have any assists on the route other than speed changes and distance to destination. As it's snowing, what we will do is drive most of the route through the cabin view, and on the odd occasion we may change to an outer view, but it's blizzard conditions, so there's not a whole lot to see. So it's obviously quite dark out there, so we'll switch on our DSD, we'll switch on our AWS, switch on our wipers. I think there's a train moving out there, I'm not sure which. It's obviously quite dark. Let's get our headlights on, and as it's dark we'll set them to night. Let's unlock our master key, switch reverse to the forwards, reset AWS, let go of our brake, and set throttle to step 3. As you can see, the snow is quite heavy. We've got a speed limit of around 50 miles an hour, shortly reducing to 40. But as the snow's quite heavy, we'll speed up the wipers a little bit. So it's 20 past 8 in the morning. We want to be at London Paddington at 8:46. What we'll do, we've got a speed restriction of 40. As I've never done a night video before, we'll have a quick look at the train. Not a lot to see, I must admit. And we'll get a look later on. And we'll increase our speed to 60. And our speed is increased to 125 restriction, so we're free to throttle max. Let's see if we can get our, if we can see them, which we're struggling. There we go. And we'll turn that up full. It's AWS, but I can see a green light ahead. Let's get a look at the front of the train. As you can see, we've got our lights on. But in these blizzard conditions, early in the morning, there's not really a lot we can see. Lights are on in the cabins for the passengers. It's the DSD alarm. What we'll have a quick test of is the headlight flash. And we can see that flashing down here. You can see a green light ahead. We'll just test that out. And that's what your headlight flash looks like. So, AI along the route, you can certainly hear it. I didn't realise that at this time of the morning, 8:25, it would be this dark. So again, this is my first time completing the route at 8:25 in the morning, en route to London in the class 43. We'll need to keep an eye out for signals, keep an eye on our speed, which will just drop off at the minute, as we are approaching that 125. And of course keep an eye on the signals, making sure that we don't have any yellows unnoticed. We've got 26 miles to go and 20 minutes to get there. Should be able to make some time up along the way. But as usual, no matter what time of day you do this Reading to Paddington route or vice versa, there's usually some yellow lights along the way. Seems like a completely different game in the dark. I think this is my first overall dark scenario. Don't think I've ever done one before. All you can more or less see is the speed and the signals and the slight movement of the windscreeper. apart from your obvious gauges, but I'll switch my flash off. Other than that, not a lot to see. Wouldn't expect this video to get a lot of views, but you never know. It's overall gameplay that the people are interested in. I think that was a class 166, judging by the short sound. But I guess this is what it's really like to drive a train in the dark. Not a lot to see except for signals and the odd light. So we can see a yellow signal in the distance, so we'll get off our throttle just in case that's for us. You can also see a green signal. And when this is the case, you really have to pay attention to your AWS alarms. As we can see, yellow and green both in the distance. So we've got 16 miles to cover the remaining 19 miles. Want to make sure that we don't speed along the way, we'll lose some points. That was our AWS, so let's keep an eye out for some signaling. We'll get off our throttle. I did see some lights there from another train. I believe it would have been a class 166 to our left though. And anything to the right will be a class 43 heading towards Reading from Paddington. Again, keeping an eye on our speed. Let's drop off the throttle as we're approaching that 125. And there's the class 43. I have to say, it certainly seems more of a challenge in the dark. You're certainly paying a lot more attention to your speed and signaling. Like I said earlier on in the video, although I realise it's winter, I certainly didn't think it would be dark at around 8:20 to 8:30. But I'm not sure exactly what time it brightens up in London. Maybe those trains on the right hand side aren't class 43s, they certainly seem a bit short. We've seen a few trains pass through, so if anybody has any ideas, or if we have to create another video for this route, the 820 service, but maybe we'll have to choose summer lighting to see what exactly those trains are. So we've got roughly 13 minutes, or 12 minutes, closer to 12, it'll be 12 now, to cover the remaining 11 miles. Let's listen out for any yellow signals on our AWS. Certainly passed plenty of red along the route. We can afford to back off the throttle a bit, I think. Although as you come in closer to Paddington, there's plenty of speed restrictions. And we may encounter the odd yellow/red light which slows us down a bit. So we've now got 10 minutes till arrival time. Seems like we're ahead of schedule. "7 miles, I think we'll coast for a mile. See how we get on with the yellow lights. You can already see that in 2 miles the speed decreases to a speed restriction of 100. So maybe we'll let it coast until we reach that. Pending signalling, of course. That's the DSD alarm, so cancel that. I think we will need to start braking before that 100 mark just to get the speed down to that. We have coasted for a mile and a half now. Started coasting at roughly 7 miles. Definitely need to keep an eye on that speed. We'll begin initial braking. We'll enter step 2 of braking. And we should achieve 100. And just under 2.5 miles, we'll have to get the speed down to 50 miles an hour from 100. So we'll start braking around a mile and a half away from that. And we'll start that braking with initial braking. Haven't had any yellow lights yet. We'll start that braking now. And we'll see where we are at 1 mile. Speed is decreasing. There's our AWS. Keep an eye out for any yellow signals. Speed decreasing gradually. And to play safe, as we're doing quite well, we'll go on to step 2 of braking. Half a mile out, 65 mile an hour, we're looking good for that. Decrease into initial braking again, 500 yards, we'll double check where we are. Looks like we'll need a step 2. And I think we can cover the rest off with initial braking before coasting at 51 to 50. Roughly 6.5 minutes away from London Paddington, or at least our scheduled time of arrival. As we pass what looked like a 166, it's got a green signal. As we coast in at 50 miles an hour. It's hard to see exactly without any reference points exactly where we are. I believe that's a class 43. Certainly heavier AI traffic as we approach Paddington at rush hour. That's the DSD alarm. Any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments section of YouTube. And if you like the video, please hit the subscribe button, as I'm a relatively new YouTuber and I want to, we'll get a live broadcast going shortly in the near future. Just about managed that 40 mile an hour, slightly over target but not red, which is always a bonus. So we're less than a mile away from Paddington. Looks like we'll be early. I want to get down to 25 mile an hour, which we should manage with initial braking. And we can coast in at that, 26, 25 with 600 yards to spare. You can see a yellow signal in the distance. We'll bring it down to 20 in case we do hit a red. You can see some reds off to the left. We've got it down to 20. Release the braking. So we're roughly 600 yards away from the station. Hopefully it is lit up. I don't want to hit any barriers. Can't yet see the platform. We'll keep an eye out for that. This could be it. Yes, we can certainly see the station lit up a lot. We'll start braking at initial. We can see another class 43 there to our left. Good to have some lights. can actually see where we're going. So we are pretty early, roughly 3 minutes early. We want to land on the marker. No real challenges other than visibility along the route. As we stop on the marker, let's get the doors open for those passengers and we'll turn those wipers off. And put them in park. Then we'll exit the train and we'll have a look. How are we done? We'll turn off the throttle. Put the reverser into neutral. Turn the taillights on. I'll turn on the master key, or lock the master key I should say. Lock the doors. And that's the end of the video. As you can see, we're 3 minutes early. Time taken for the journey was 25 minutes, approaching 26. Now you can see the overall scores. As commented already, just leave a few comments, maybe hit the subscribe button if you like, and we'll get a live stream going someday soon. Other than that, happy YouTubing, enjoy the rest of your day.